Everybody, welcome back to the BIVM podcast hosted by me, Eder. I got Hosea here with me today. Got a couple people in the background. Thank you all for tuning in. We got another special guest today, Laurkita Sheffield. She is an accountant. She handles taxes. She does a multitude of things. So we're going to have Laurkita introduce herself, tell us a little bit about what she does, and, welcome her in.
Okay, well, my name is Laurkita Sheffield, owner of Sheffield Accounting and Financial Services. I actually started my business without realizing I had a business about 3 years ago, doing tax prep and accounting work. So I officially started my business back in 2020, and I have been going ever since. And I actually do bookkeeping, accounting, tax prep, and personal financial coaching.
Okay, perfect. And I do want to just open up with what the BIVM podcast is. Our podcast produces raw and unfiltered content that is hosted by myself, Hosea, Terrence Daniels, and Junior, as well as DeVoe Sherman. We aim to amplify voices that have been degraded, dismantled, and devalued. And on the BIVM podcast, we want to say it with our chest. We want to get things off of our chest. We also want to produce raw education to the community. So, like I said, we have Laurkita Sheffield. She says she started a business without even knowing that she had her business. So tell us a little bit how you kind of started off and, what made you get into the accounting field. And right now, it's so important because, we in February, it is tax time. So I know you've been stupid busy.
Oh, my goodness.
With
to
just
say
getting,
the least.
to getting a lot of things. So how did it kind of start off? Did you even start off during the tax time or a tax season, or was you in it before and then it just kind of, worked into that?
I actually started out doing family member taxes on TurboTax.
Nice.
I got up to doing about 10 family members taxes, and I started to think maybe I can take this on my own and start my own business. So it just went from there, basically.
Okay. And what exactly is TurboTax for some people who may not know exactly what TurboTax is?
Tax prep software. Anybody can log in and prepare their own taxes on an annual basis.
Okay. Now, was that what you were doing for yourself? You were doing it for yourself?
I was doing it for myself and family members and friends and anybody I knew personally who needed taxes done. I would use TurboTax.
Okay.
Sheesh, man. Let me ask you this. So, how essential do you feel like it is for, businesses to do account payables, and just receivables? How important is that? It's small business owners.
That's the most important thing you can do as a business owner. If you don't properly track your income and expenses, you won't be able to know how your business is operating, if it's even a viable business, pretty much.
Sheesh.
Yeah. And if you don't know that information, you also won't be able to prepare your taxes properly.
Dang.
Get the proper deductions.
Dang, that's crazy. I can I most definitely see why it's important because a lot of times, especially now, looking at tax, you wow, I got all these different areas of
right.
Things. So it's that's most definitely important.
Mm-hmm.
So I can ask you this, so are there any financial forms businesses should look for or have?
Financial forms. The biggest thing is make sure you are invoicing. A lot of business owners come to me and they have no financial plan or anything like that in place, which is okay. That's why I'm here. So the biggest thing is make sure you have documentation, your invoicing, your receipts, all of that. Make sure you have some type of plan in place.
I need to get with her, man. Stop playing.
Okay, so I want to kind of go back to the beginning because me personally, as I got older and, got a job and started filing taxes, really, all I thought taxes is just kind of getting money back from the government. I couldn't wait to file my taxes because I was I'm about to get a band back. I'm about to get a band back, or two bands or whatever. And then now you see it people got kids, they getting 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 bands. But is it really just getting money back? Is that what taxes really is? Or is there some underlying, deductions that you want to look for, or the deductions that you get in? It's not really just about getting back. And then I heard some people don't even get money back from the government in the form of taxes. So tell us a little bit about what taxes really are and getting money back, and you know, what other things that, you know, taxes kind of incorporate rather than just getting the money back?
Well, if you're a single person and you're getting money back, the most important thing to know is you're basically overpaying throughout the year.
Okay.
So a lot of people tend to think that if you get a refund back, that's like this miraculous thing, when in reality is you overpaid the government. So, yeah, you may want to adjust your W-4 if you're a single person getting money back. That way you have more money during the year versus giving too much in the process and getting a lump sum at the end of each year.
Okay, so you said W-4. Okay, what exactly?
If you are a W-2 employee, when you first apply for your job or when you're first hired on to the job, you have to fill out a W-4 form, which is basically letting the government know or letting your job know how much to withhold from your weekly check or biweekly check, however you're paid.
Wow, that's crazy.
So you said, so what is the difference? Because I know, like, being a employee, you W-2, so W-2 versus W-4.
Okay, so the W-2 is what you get at the end of the year. It's basically a summary of everything that was paid to you from your job. And a W-4 is something that you fill out when you're first hired on to your job to let your employer know how many taxes to take out of your paycheck. So that's the biggest difference. W-4 is before, the W-2 is after.
Okay.
Can I ask you this? So, like, I know you mentioned that you do bookkeeping as well.
Correct.
Like, how important is it to keep track of, like, you know, paper trail and transactions? How important is that?
The most important thing is to audit proof your business. So basically, when you're tracking your income, make sure you have a paper trail to show where the income came in from. And when you're paying out, make sure you keep your receipts. And that's basically how you audit proof, what I like to call audit proofing your business. If you're ever audited at the end of the year or a year or two from now, if you're able to have that documentation in place, you don't have to worry about anything.
That's like super important because it even saves time too.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like, because I'm looking at stuff now, I'm like, oh my God, I got all these different, you know, revenues. It's like, well, I gotta, but it's important to have that. And also, like, just having you as a bookkeeper, as an accountant, like how important is that to have as a business owner, you know, to have a bookkeeper and an accountant? Like, how important is that?
I would say at the bare minimum, every business owner should at least have a bookkeeper. And that's basically somebody who tracks your progress, what you have coming in and what you have going out. If you want to take your business to the next level, that's when you bring in an accountant, because we can teach you how to grow your business. And if you, once you reach the six-figure mark, I would say, we're going to speak it into existence.
Right.
Once you reach the six-figure mark, bring in a CFO. And a CFO can take you to a whole nother level.
What is CFO? Like, all y'all people, she said, count it now, man. Y'all gonna be six-figure owner business owners. All right, say it. Well, yeah, what's the CFO?
Chief Financial Officer.
Okay. And like, how are they different from you? Like, how are they, like, what control, like, what kind of, like, what do they operate?
Okay, well, I do offer CFO services too, and that's basically, like I said, for six-figure business owners, and that's basically forecasting, budgeting, looking at your profit and income, and telling you what you need to do in order to go to the next level. It's like a different level of analytics when it comes to the CFO.
I love that. Sheesh.
Okay. I was gonna go back a little bit. So we talked about W-2 employees. Now, to hit on like some of like the business owners that you get, what are the differences? Because you handle just straight business owners, people who own their own business. What are the differences that you kind of see between when you get a W-2 employee versus somebody who just owns a business outright? Like, is there a big difference? Do you see like, or tell them the advantages maybe of, you know, having your own business versus being a W-2 employee?
Okay. Well, the biggest difference is if you're an employee, the IRS automatically takes taxes out before you're even paid. And then you basically get to spend what's left of your check. If you're a business owner, you can spend first and then the taxes are taxed later,
Right.
after you go through all of your expenses. So that's the biggest difference.
Now, do you find people, like, obviously you got to be more in tune, you know, preparation and having like the things that you know, spend your expenses on. Do you find a lot of people run into that problem when they become business owners, that they can't keep up with their expenses, and what can they possibly do to help them out, besides, obviously, you said having a CFO if they in six figures, or just having, maybe somebody else. But, when you first be a business owner, you trying to hold expenses as low as possible, so you might have to do it yourself. What kind of, techniques or, things that what people can do to help themselves out as a first-time business owner?
I would say have some type of tracking system in place, whether that is Microsoft Excel. And if you find yourself outgrowing Excel, definitely get QuickBooks. And that's basically a tracking system and that gives you a visual of how you're performing. You can see your income, you can see your expenses. That way you can look at it and say, hey, I need to trim back on this category. I need to stop eating out as much, that sort of thing.
What do you find, to get into that, what do you find that people are usually spending their money on that they can cut back, to help with taxes? Or should they look at it as all right, I need to use this as a business expense to, write certain things off? And what is eligible for people to kind of write off, that they are using for those smaller things?
There are a lot of things that a business owner can write off. Just make sure it's ordinary and necessary for your business. The biggest thing that I see, a lot of people overspend on takeout. Takeout is the biggest thing, but the good thing is right now through the end of 22, most of it is 100% tax deductible, so you can write it off on your taxes.
It's just speaking on that, I'm pretty sure you had some clients that's crazy. They're I want you to do all this, that. You whoa, you acting crazy. So tell me about the time you had a difficult client.
What?
How did you handle that? I'm pretty sure you did that a lot. Even the ones that try to do scams, hey, can you do this? Can you get this line for me? All this other stuff. You no.
Yeah, the biggest thing is I tell people I operate on integrity. If there is anything that you want me to do that's not the right thing to do, I won't do it, and I'll let you know that up front. But I haven't had any difficult clients. I've been pretty blessed in that sense, and I think the thing that helps me is the fact that I do have systems and operations and communication in place to prevent, certain things from happening.
I feel also just hearing you speak, you got very good emotional intelligence. You can tell somebody's actually coming for help or coming to
oh yeah, you can weed them out.
Yeah, and you can really see it. So how important do you think that is? Even with your balance, managing your taxes, managing your business, and just you being a strong woman, how do you balance all this, the emotion? Are you emotional with business? How do you make your decisions when it comes to handling clients and stuff like that? When stuff don't work out or you get stressed, how do you handle those moments?
You know what? The thing that helps me from being stressed is having a system in place. I time block everything. I set aside an hour at the beginning of the day to do this. 12 o'clock is when I handle my emails. Certain things like that in place definitely helps me to not become overwhelmed.
Okay, like that. That's good.
I'm a planner. I have everything boom, boom, boom.
You see, I'm calculating. This is what we're going to do today. Yes. This is how I'm balance. That's good. So do you feel it's very important to have a team, when it comes to how important is it to have stuff in place, to have everything organized, running a business? I know a lot of people start a business, but they don't really be organized with structure. So how important is structure, especially inside this type of field?
Yeah, you gotta have structure. You gotta have structure. If there's something that you feel you aren't good at, I will always say hire out or outsource it, meaning you could get a contractor or you can get a W-2 employee to handle it for you. There are a lot of things I'm not good at, and I feel I'm definitely going to hire eventually to get people to take care of things that I feel are not my strengths.
I know I'm going to hire people, so I ain't the best at everything. I don't
think nobody is.
Right.
Nobody
so
is.
Hire the people if you ain't got it until you learn it. That's what she said. You got one to ask?
Yeah. So let's get into so you said you started with TurboTax and you started doing your own and you started doing your family members. Obviously, I've gone through TurboTax before, but what type of, I know at a certain point, TurboTax won't teach you everything.
Right.
So what type of education do you feel did you go through, and what, brought you to a point? It's not just the experience of doing taxes, but you had to go out and get some type of information. Where'd you go get information from to, help you improve your skills on doing taxes?
Right. So I feel like for starters, TurboTax is really good if you're strictly a W-2 employee. Once you get into owning your own business, I would highly suggest you stay away from TurboTax.
Okay.
Definitely hire a professional. But with me, once I had my first individual with a business, I felt the need to just learn more about preparing taxes. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe I should pursue my master's. So I'm working on my master's still with the taxation and concentration. So
Okay.
I'm looking to take my tax services to the next level.
Okay. When you say the next level, like what's going to be the next level for you per se?
For me, tax planning. Tax planning is key if you're a business owner. That basically lowers your tax liability, and just coming up with little tips and tricks and techniques to lower your tax liability if you're a business owner, especially if you're a high earning business owner. I want to be able to assist those people.
That's good.
What's the kind of getting off subject? What's the highest you ever seen somebody like they done? Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. 38K.
Sheesh.
38K is the highest I've seen.
How much was they making though?
200K.
200K.
It's a little over 200K. Yeah.
That's decent. Yeah, I suppose. That's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, when you deduct expenses and everything, it was still sort of high, but it was higher than that before the individual came to me. I was able to get that lowered a lot.
Maybe
So
15-20% of what they of what they made. So I guess that's not horrible. Yeah, that's a decent amount for sure.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was going to ask you, like, so, like, you know, today's time, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur, right? So a lot of people are going from, you know, W-2s, W-9s to actual, you know, W-4s. So, like a lot of people, like, do you see, is it very common, or is it very, like, is it a lot of people that they get into contracting and they say they have a business, but they really don't. They're just contracting. Do you feel like a lot of people are confused between being a contractor versus a business owner?
I feel like a lot of people want to get to the next level, and I feel like I don't think there's really any type of confusion in terms of that. I just feel like they're just at the starting point of their careers as far as being an entrepreneur.
So on that, I know you do more than taxes, but what's a good route for them to like start learning information? Like what should they do next to like know the difference between all these different categories? 'Cause it can get confusing. You know, when you're trying to file, you're like,
Yeah.
what? So like what's a good step for them to like handle their business or become official to where they.
I would say either hire a professional. If you're not at the point where you're able to hire a professional to tell you what you need to do your research. Start with the IRS.gov website. The biggest thing is just to go to an official website. Don't go to any rinky-dink website and expecting to get information, because a lot of that information isn't valid. So definitely start at the IRS.gov website and just type in whatever it is that you feel like you need to know, and it'll pop up.
They can give you a call too, right?
They can give me a call too.
Give her a call too. Right? All right, so I'm gonna ask you this. So like, just going back to before, I know you was mentioning how you got started, in accounting, you was helping your family and stuff like that. But as far as you, like how important did you feel like it was for you to be that person, to be that accountant, for everybody? Like, why was it so important to you?
Because for one, I love numbers. I'm a numbers and puzzle person, and I genuinely want to see people win. I want to see people go to the next level and become a better version of themselves and take their business to the next level. And I feel like a lot of times, a lot of accountants that I've heard horror stories about, they are just looking at you as a dollar sign, and I don't really see people as dollar signs. I see people as people want to take their business to the next level.
That's true. I can see that too. Y'all can hear her how she talking, man. It's all real. Her energy 100. So, like I said, man, just hearing you speak about being an accountant, like for just a personal experience, like I'm like, man, you always look at accounting, bookkeeping, you think it's all the same,
right?
And it's really not. I feel like it's layers to it. Just like everything is layers. So, do you feel like bookkeeping is like the first layer in business, and then then you can go to the accountant, I believe. So, like, explain that, like the different layers or steps.
Okay. So the bookkeeping portion, the first layer, like you said, is mainly data entry, is tracking your income and expenses. Then there's the accounting role, which is the more analytical role that takes the information from the bookkeeping and makes sense of everything.
Okay.
So that's the major difference between the two. Then, like I said earlier, the CFO is just a higher level of accounting.
Okay. Sheesh, I'm over here like I'm excited. I'm like, well, something like this, like just looking at all these numbers. We live inside of times where, like I said before, is social media. Everybody got numbers. So with you, like watching everything, like, do you feel like it's important to, like, people for them to put their numbers out there, like what they doing, or is that something that should be like confidential?
I think it depends on the individual. You don't necessarily need to do that, but if you feel the need, let me back up. I feel let me back up. I feel like if you put yourself out there in that aspect, you can help other people grow because they see your mistakes and they can learn from your mistakes. So, I mean, it's at your discretion. I'm not against it. I'm not necessarily for it either. Okay. It's just whatever you want to do.
What do you find like the difference? So, between going back to a W-2 employee and then going from a business owner. Obviously, with a business owner, you get deductions. Can you get deductions as a W-2 employee, or are those things that you see? Let me just ask that first. Like, what are the benefits of or deductions that you can get as a W-2 employee? Is that possible?
You can itemize your tax return, meaning if you spend out of pocket on medical expenses, charitable deductions. There's a list of things you can deduct as a W-2 employee that'll definitely help you out on your taxes and get you a huge either refund or lower your tax liability.
Okay. And then bouncing from a W-2 to just a business owner, I'm certain you can get a lot more benefits of it being a business owner. Do you recommend, somebody opening just a business just to get the deductions? Is it worth it? Do you think so?
It's only worth it if you really want to be a business owner, or if you're really passionate about that business. If you're just doing it just to do it, I say stay away from it because it's no good is going to come to it.
Yeah.
Only do it if you're passionate about it.
So you don't think the deductions of being a business owner, if you're not really into business, is kind of worth putting that together?
If you're really not into it, no.
Because I feel like there's a lot more money out there that you can get, just based off of, or even having your own business. And then, being able to utilize those deductions may even help you as a W-2 employee. So, I feel like having your business on the side would bring or help with the deductions. So, but yeah, if you say it's not really worth it, then, possibly not. So, and why earlier, to go back, why did you say TurboTax? Don't do TurboTax if you have your own business? Because
there are so many deductions that regular people really don't know too much about, and TurboTax will not willingly give you that information. That's some knowledge that you have to either go to a tax accountant or a CPA for. So if you're a business owner using TurboTax, more than likely you'll owe a lot more than what you normally would owe.
Like even EasyFile, like all them like third-party websites, they all
even
like
all
the same?
Of it, yeah, because a lot of them don't give you all the information you need.
So is it that they don't give you the information, or do they? So like you obviously have lines where you put stuff in. So is it they don't have the lines that you can implement that stuff, or they just don't give you the prompts that tell you that you can have this type of deduction?
Right. The biggest thing is the prompts. Going on TurboTax, for example, they give you some prompts, but they don't give you everything that you could deduct on your tax return.
Yeah, that makes sense. What about like maybe H&R Block or Liberty? I think it's State Liberty or something that. What about those companies? Can people go get good services there? Have you had any involvement with those type of services? Or anything?
Well, because a human is actually doing your taxes, you can always go to H&R Block. The biggest downfall, what I see, is they overcharge. But I guess it depends on the individual. So, but yeah, H&R Block. What is the other one? Liberty.
Liberty or something
those are all good places to go because a human is actually taking care of your taxes versus a computer giving you prompts or not giving you prompts.
What are some of the headaches like that you run into? Obviously he asked about disgruntled people who might have something going on, but what are some of the headaches outside of, like, do you ever run into, I've seen too many numbers, or I can't figure this out? Like, What other deductions can I get them? Yeah, what are some of the headaches that you might run into that you?
You know what? The biggest headache that I run into is somebody not following my plan. If I'm telling you, if you made $1,000 in profit this month, set aside 30% of that for your tax account, and somebody not do it, and then now we're at tax time and they owe $9,000, and now they don't have any money set aside for their taxes. So that's the biggest thing. Just follow my plan. Listen to what I'm telling you and just follow it out.
So what is how, does that affect you? So like if you do somebody taxes and they owe a certain amount but they can't pay that amount, like does that affect you? Obviously they might not, they got to pay you, right?
Yeah.
So other than that, does that affect you about how
No.
much they owe? Yeah,
No, it doesn't affect me at all. It falls on them
at
the end of the day. But I'm giving you the tools that you need during the year to avoid that.
Right.
And if you decide not to listen or follow through or go through with what I'm telling you,
right?
Yeah.
SOL.
It's at your own
blew
risk.
it.
Right.
So I know there's different tax times, different tax seasons. Can you name? Yeah, obviously now, like this is the only time that I know of taxes. Like I said, I used to just look for getting that, band back, or that
Right,
1,500 back, or whatever I might get from school write-offs and other stuff like that. But I know there's, specific times when tax season comes or when business have to file specific taxes.
Yeah.
What are those times?
If you're a business owner, either your taxes are due by March 15th or April 15th, depending on your type of business entity. There's also tax planning season, and a lot of people don't know about tax planning season, and that's typically October through December.
And what exactly is, obviously I know tax and I know planning, but what exactly is that tax planning season?
Tax planning, that's basically, it's basically when you look at your income and expenses and look for tax strategies to figure out why you owe a higher or a lesser amount of taxes.
Okay.
So that's something necessary for every business owner, tax planning for sure.
That's crazy. Man, I don't want to change the subject, but I want to get deep. I want to get like personal now.
Okay,
Because
okay.
I'm hearing the business side, but I want people to hear the inside, like the person you are, the woman you are. So I know the journey wasn't easy.
Right.
I know you had to go through a lot of like struggles, and mental warfares and stuff like that. So, what are some things you feel like you need to heal from, and like how you going to proactively, affect it, like and grow from it. Like, what are some things you feel like you can grow from, as a person to be better in everything you do? Like, what are some things you can grow from?
I would say my biggest thing would be I operated from struggle for so long throughout my whole 20s. So my 30s have been about finding out who Laurkita is, what Laurkita likes or Laurkita doesn't like. Yeah. So my biggest thing is just to literally stop and smell the roses, because I was in go mode for so long. Yeah. And when you in that mode for so long, you don't really know yourself. You're just going nonstop. So that's my biggest thing for my 30s, is just to figure out who I am, what I like, what I dislike. And that was part of the reason for me starting my business.
Damn, you in your 30s? I was
going to say that.
Yeah,
shit, 30s.
I'll be 33 next week.
On the
next
1st. Week. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
thank you.
That's crazy. Man, just hearing your story, like just hearing that's really deep, because when you said like just fighting the struggles, I don't think people understand how big that is in our culture. Our culture, we get taught so many like principles, like, well, it's okay, you can just deal with this, or you ain't got to worry about that. But it's like, nah, I actually can worry about that. I actually can attack these issues, so for you to do that, takes a lot of courage, and for you to keep being consistent and to keep finding that purpose. Like, I'm proud of you, you know what I'm saying?
I
like,
appreciate
that's
it.
his brother, we love you, man. So I'm like,
appreciate
keep going, man. Any support, we here for you on that.
Definitely, and that's what kind of BIVM is about. Just obviously it's geared towards black males, but we want to make sure we look out for everybody. We want to make sure everybody's mental is getting better and getting back to even some towards the pandemic. Like, a lot of people are going through a lot of things. A lot of people don't know where to go. A lot of people don't know how to heal. So just maybe hearing somebody else's story can help somebody else heal as well. And then another thing that we like to do here is kind of drop a gem as we kind of wind down and what we have going. So with it being tax time, I want to say the biggest gem is make sure y'all have y'all books and orders. Make sure y'all, if y'all come to accounting, y'all have an accountant, follow their plan. So when tax time comes, you're not scrambling, and it'll make a lot of things easier for your tax provider. So that's the gem that I have. Just make sure you're on top of your stuff as far as your bookkeeping.
Okay, and mine is be proactive instead of reactive in every term of your every phase of your life. Whether it's health, don't wait until you have an ailment and then decide you want to change. Be proactive instead of reactive. When it comes to your business, have an accountant in place before things get bad. So,
man, she just dropped the bomb. They both dropped the bomb. My gem is, look, put your pride to the side and hire a professional. Just hire a professional. You don't know what you're doing. You just got into business. Or if you're in business, you're not seeing growth, or you're scared to do taxes, hire a professional. And I know they might sound expensive, but like I said, they'll tailor to your budget. So hire a professional, get everything fixed so you can have that ready now before you start scaling big numbers in the future. So just hire a professional, put your pride to the side, and get fixed, man. That's my gem of the day. So we also want to do shout out a black business, So I'm gonna go ahead and start first. I'm gonna shout out to Pooji. They sell clothes. They also help with cryptocurrency consulting. They also do life coaching. They also do photography. So if you need anything like that, check them out. It's PULLGI on Facebook and Instagram. Just check them out. That's my black-owned business.
My black-owned business would be Yvonne Dillard, CPA. She's somebody I've been working with closely for maybe about 6 months or so. Super sweet, super informative. She'll help you out with whatever you need to know.
Okay, and then my black-owned business is going to be DeVos consulting firm. I've learned a lot from that guy, just listening to the guy. And I paid $200, $300 maybe a couple years ago to some other, I can't even remember, it was some legacy platform that I kind of got the same information that I'm getting from this guy for free. So the guy knows what he's talking about. Devote consulting firm. Find him on Facebook. Find him on the BIVM platform. And just like that, we have another one in the books that is going to be the BIVM podcast with our guest Laurkita Sheffield,
the queen,
my guy Hosea Stanford.
Thank you.
And I'm Edward, your host. Hope y'all tuned in to the next one. Hope y'all got a lot of education. There was a lot of gems dropped today. And the best thing to do is to go back and to listen to it over again, because just listening to the first time, you won't get all the information. So you have to go back and get the information to, make it stick with you a little bit longer. So that is the BMM podcast. And just like that, another one. We out.